Hi, you're welcome to this module of the UI/UX design training. In this module, I'll be talking about UX research, how to conduct UX research. Remember, in our last module, we talked about the design thinking stages, where we mentioned empathy being the stage where you get to know your user's needs. So the UX research is more of the empathy stage where you set up surveys and reach out to the supposed user via interviews, online survey, or physical meetings to interview them and know their needs, their pain points, and their frustrations. So, how do you conduct UX research? Okay, empathy, know your user's need. In order to know the user's need, there is need to plan, conduct, and analyze research studies. This involves conducting research like setting up online surveys, analyzing data, defining the scope of problem, and sharing findings with stakeholders. Stakeholders talks about the key persons involved when it comes to building the product you are working on. So these are the process you will notice or you carry out in the empathy phase. You understand? The phase where you get to know you, that you do this by conducting, planning, and analyzing research studies. So very quickly, how do we go about this? You make use of UX research tools and softwares to carry out this process. So there are different tools you can deploy for your UX research. Some of them are Google Forms, Typeforms, Survey Gizmos, Survey Monkey, Survey Legends, and there are lots more. There are lots more of them, and most of these tools are paid tools, like you are going to pay to use them. But we also have the free tools as well. So in the course of this training, we'll be working with a free tool. But before I go into the free tool, I've already highlighted the free tool, which is our Google Form. Maybe I'll just give it a color fill. No. So we'll be working with Google Form in course of this training. But before I delve into what the Google Form looks like, that's for those persons that have never created Google Forms before, I would like to just do a brief highlight on how to do online survey or how online survey tools work. Alright, the first thing you want to do is this. Let me try to zoom this out. Okay, here we go. So how do online survey tools work? First of all, you define your survey goal, like what you intend to achieve at the end of the survey. Then the next is to create the online survey, which is step 2. Then step 3 is you will share your survey. You understand? Step 4 is you evaluate your response. When you share your survey, you get people's feedback. People will fill the form or will take the survey and you get their feedback to evaluate their response. Then the next is to take correct action. So very quickly, I'll be showing you guys how to use Google Forms to carry out your online survey. So here is how it works. You go to google.com, gmail.com. You go to your gmail.com, you see an interface like this, which is your inbox. You need to use your desktop or your laptop for this exercise. If you are not using your laptop, you may have to download Forms, like the Form app from your Play Store or from Apple Store if you are using an iPhone. So if you are using your laptop, for this, once you open your email, you come to this place where you see this toggle button. You click on it, that's the Google Apps. Then you scroll down to, you see different Google apps. You scroll down to Forms and you click on Forms. Remember, we're trying to create Google Forms for our online survey. So I'll be showing you how to create the form. and how to ask different kind of question necessary for your research. All right, you will see something like this. If you are a new user, you only see this blank and maybe these other 3 templates. But if you are an existing user, you could see other forms that have been created by you, just like you can see on my screen. So I have my recent form. So this was the last form I did. Okay, it was a UX research for a beauty store. The name of the store is Crystal Luxury Empire. So I'll just do an overview of this, but I'll teach you how to create this form, so don't worry. Let's just do an overview of this. It has your form is going to have the heading, which is the title. It's going to have a brief description. You can see mine. So then you start listing out the details you want to get from your users. So in this case, I have the name, their email, their age brackets, completion. I didn't complete this form because I was using this form for a UX research tutorial with a student. So when I got to this place, as at the time I got to this place, the student had already understood how to use the Google form. So don't worry if you are new, I'm going to explain it to you as well. So very quickly, I'll just go back to the home page. So your form is going to have the title, description, and your set of questions. I'm going to teach you how to do this, nothing to worry about. So very quickly, I'll go back to the home page. This is what it looks like. So you click on the blank document. If you are just starting at, you click on the blank document. Remember I said there are other tools you can deploy for your UX research, but in this case we want to make use of a free tool, so I'm using Google Forms. You understand? So you see what it looks like now. So we have the form title, the form description, and your set of questions. Let me just quickly explain the environment, what it looks like. So on this part we have the form title. You can rename it. Let's say I'm doing UX research for a food product, a food app, or a food brand. I can just write, let's say Tasty Creep. I might choose capital letter TASTY, Tasty Creep, CRIB. So that would be the title of my form. You see that's reflected there. If you also type it here to reflect there. So we have the form title. You can move the form to folder. So you notice that we have questions, response, and settings. I will explain each of these. So the question menu or the question interface is where you write the title of your form. You can put a description here. So in most cases, the description could be what your brand is all about and what you guys are offering and all of that. But me, since I'm doing this as a UX designer, I often do something like this. Ctrl V. Hello, my name is Prince. I'm a UI. You can put your name. I'm a UI UX designer carrying out research on an online food ordering app. You put what you are doing. Kindly help me fill this form, or kindly help me fill and complete this survey. Your feedback is going to help my research process. You can add something like that. So you can edit this write-up. If I want to give it maybe a bold typeface, italicize, you see how it's changing. You could do something like same thing with the title. You could make it bold, you could make it italic, you could even underline it and all of that. So whatever you want it to be, I think this is fine. So you see what it looks like. So the question part is where you type out your questions for the user to fill up. You only put questions that will bring back necessary data and required data. You don't ask questions that is out of point or out of place. So in a case like this, I could just ask questions like what's your name, WHAT, . So when you ask a question like this, you see that it's going to give a short answer, like it is configured automatically since the person is going to reply with a short answer. But if you want to change the options, you could come here, over here, see that it's selecting short answer. You could put a paragraph or some, maybe you want to say tell me about yourself or anything. You can change the options, you understand. You can even upload files and all of that. So I'm going to explain all of this. So short answer is fine for this question. Of course, their name will not be more than 3 words maximum, or if they have a long name, it could be up to 5 words, like Okechukwu, Ifeanyi, Chukwuemeka, Buduji, Prince, and all of that. So you may want to select this option required, so that every question you are asking them, as long as you have selected this required, if they don't answer that question, they can't submit the form, you understand. They can't submit the form. So you always select required. Let me show you the effect of this required. So if I click outside, or maybe a new question, you see this asterisk. Asterisk means it's required, you understand. So I've clicked the plus button to add question. You can see it, add question. So you can say your age, age brackets. If you want to take their email address, you can also put email address, PRSCKT. Then you give them options. You can put something like 15 to 25, 26 to 40, 50 to 65. You see what I'm doing, right? I'm choosing multiple choice as my option, then 65 and above. Remember, I said you only ask questions that are necessary. So if the age bracket is going to help my research, so of course it should, because since it's a product, a food product, it will help you know your target audience, you understand. From this feedback, you will know your target audience, like people that you should focus on that may likely buy your product. Remember, the goal is that you are doing a research to find out more about your users, know their needs, their pain points, their frustration. So putting age bracket will also help you know your ideal target audience, you understand. So I want to go to my next question. I'll click on add question, and that's it. I'll add the question. So I ask question like, what's your favorite meal? So I could give them options depending on what I want to, because since the food brand and we're researching on our user, I want to give them what we're selling. So fried rice and chicken, whatever ID. Could put jollof rice, JOLLOFRICE. So these are how you do your research. Probably beans and plantain, BNS, and so on. Curry and soup, GRRI. Curry and soup. So you can just keep going on and on and on. So for the age bracket, I'm going to also make it required. So necessary questions should be made required. So in case you want to delete the question, or you want to duplicate, you can click on delete or duplicate. So this is how you create your user survey questions. So you can add more questions, give them more options, just explore. So I'm going to create some other questions. So the next question is your preferred protein for your meal. You see egg, beef, goats, and all of that. So the next is your favorite soup. The next is how do you get your meals? Do you cook? Do you buy from a restaurant? Do you order? if you get your meals from a restaurant, what's the proximity? Remember, we're asking questions that are necessary for our brand. So when I do my UX survey, I don't just ask questions, I also give the respondents the privilege to also suggest. So at the end of my questions, I do something like, what features, since it's a food app we're building in this case, so this survey is to research for our prospective users and all of that. So what features will you recommend in an online food app? You understand? So I also ask, what payment do you prefer when you order your meal, like online payment or pay on delivery and all of that. So finally, you give them a room for suggestion. This is where you get to know more about your users, because at this point they are not responding based on options, they are responding based on personal needs, personal frustration and interest. So the next place in your Google form is your responses. You understand? So this form has been filled already. This form has been filled, so you just come to response. Okay, this place is for you to stop accepting response. You can turn it off when you don't want to accept response. If you turn it on like this, it will keep accepting response. So when people click the link, they can fill your form. But when you are done, let's say you are okay with the number of feedback, you can turn it off. So most companies, most recruiters, they use Google Forms to do their recruiting process. They set up questions, interview questions and all of that, and people take those for questions and all of that for the recruitment process. So our case is research. We are researching about it. So when you click on response, under the response category, you can find the summary of the persons that have filled your form. So this is what it's going to look like. Don't worry, I'm going to also teach you how to analyze data. Remember, this phase of our training is where you conduct your research, analyze your data, do your statement of problem, do your iData and all of that. So this is purely UX, how to give your users a better user experience. So these are the feedback we got from this form. So you can see the gender, 25 responses, 14 were female, 11 male. So I asked their gender, age bracket. You see that majority of people that fill this one are 21 to 35. So we also get their feedback. You see what they are saying. About 6 persons out of the 25 like fried rice and chicken, 7 like jollof rice and chicken, 6 like garri and soup, 5 like beans, 4 like yam and egg sauce and all that. So this is the feedback of your form. You get them under responses. You can go to your questions to see the questions, then you go to responses to get your feedback, where you can analyze your findings and all of that. So when we will be doing data presentation, I'm going to teach you how to present your data using Miro. Immediately after your feedback, the next thing you need to do is to present your data. We'll be using Miro tool for that. So very quickly, I will just go over to data. Okay, but before I go over to the analyzing of data, let's go to the last question I asked, which is, what will you prefer or recommend in an online food? This is where you see them saying their mind. So from this analysis, you will know how your app or your website, as the case may be, should be organized. So this person said estimated time delivery should be displayed in the menu. So if they are ordering for a menu, they should see the time delivery. So they are suggesting you put this feature in your app. Easy order placing. They want your app to be seamless, easy to use, say voice integration and all of that, fast delivery. So this is where you get to see your users' pain point from your response. And when you ask this kind of question, most persons during their research, they don't give the users or the respondents room to say their mind, that's not really good, because the goal of the research is not just for you to bombard them with questions, it's to know them better. And if there's no room for questions like this where you can know them better, then your research process is not complete. So you see this when said customer care phone number should be in the app, track delivery process, and all that. You can know more and more and more about your users from this process. So after this process, okay, let me just do a bit about the Google Form environment. The next is your settings. So you can choose how you want your form to be. I'll suggest you explore this on your own. So how you want your responses to be. Do you want to get their email address? You can turn it on, like automatically it brings out a question to get their email address. You want them to be limited to one response. You can set this so that once they fill with one email address, Google Form works with email address. Once they fill the form using one email address, they can't fill again. So that's that. Allow response editing. You could set it on so that when they finish taking the survey, they can edit their response. You might also choose to leave it off like this. So these are the settings. Presentation, how do you want to add a progress bar? Do you want to shuffle the questions after submission? What message do you want? So they have an automatic message which is your response has been recorded. You can also change it to something like, okay, thank you for taking this survey. So you could put anything you want. TAKING this SURVY. Just put something like this and save. So these are confirmation messages. So you could put something of your choice. So do you want to show the link and all of that? So you can just explore this part on your own. You get to default form, just check and all of that. So that's understanding. So I've already walked you through questions, response, and settings. We are going to come back to response when we get to our UX presentation. That's when we'll be using a Miro for our presentation. There are two media at which you can present your UX research feedback. You can either use Miro or you use FigJam. In this training, we'll be using Miro for our presentation. So I'll see you in the next module. All right, not too fast. So once you are done putting all your questions as you would like to have it, the next thing you want to do is to share your link by sending. Click the send button to share a link. Remember when I talked about the process, I said, let's just quickly go back. I said you need to define your survey goals, create the online survey, which are the questions, then share. At this point is where you want to click on this link. So when you click on the link, you see something like this, send via email. You click on this icon and you get the link. You can either copy from here, or if you want to shorten the link, you can click on shorten link and you press copy. See that the link has been shortened. If you want to maintain the long form, you can also do the same. You press copy and you can now share to the users. You can use social media like your WhatsApp, share to your contact, or any means you want to share, either through an ad or something. But it's best you share. You are just starting out, share your link with your contact, your friends, your family, and tell them to help you complete the form, because you need the feedback for your research. So if you are doing this research for a company, you can do physical survey. You can also share via social media and all of that. So thank you for staying to the end. See you in our next module.